Bruce at you, Targeted Wealth Creation, and I'm back here in the morning to do MSTY, and I'll follow that up with some Coney, GDXY, and YBIT. All right, so let's see what happened with MSTY. Now note that the price drops, right? Because the price I'm showing is really the 6.6 price, which is when it dropped, right? So let's look at MSTR because that doesn't pay a dividend. You don't have that issue. It was down 2.26%, and that went from 1694 to 1656. Now remember, on the weeklies, we had some 1610, so that helps us, right? Every dollar is a dollar saved. So we went from 1694 to what? 16. Whoops. Oh, I've got to pick up June here, and I switched tabs. How about that? Let's go pick up June. Always a few little nuances. We make all those changes and then we miss a few things, right? So accounting wise, I'm switching now. Let's go to June, and that equals that. All right. I won't worry about implied volatility, but somebody was asking me if I was showing that, and yes, I tend to update this once or twice, right? I pull it from barcharts.com, but I manually do it. I'm not trying to update it from somewhere or use a complicated formula. I just pull it. So it doesn't vary much day to day, but it does vary over time. But if you ever want to know, go out to barchart.com, type in MSTR. We don't care about an IV on MSTY, right? It's too small and too new. But MSTR, and they'll show you. And typically you always want to find a 30-day IV. And then I usually plug in, and I haven't done it, I do it on some of the other ones, the 52-week low and high. I think this thing, had a 145 for a short period of time. And I'm guessing maybe 80 would be a low. This thing doesn't tend to go too low. All right, so back to June. So that's why you see 909, right? Because 303, which is payday, today's payday. I saw mine in my swab. All right, so today's payday. So what did they do? They did 3 trades. They did a buy, call, sell, short, put, and they did that on their synthetic, right? Whenever you see 3 and they're all the same quantity, then it's a synthetic, right? Now, if they close this synthetic, you'll see a sell here, and then you'll see a BC for buy to close. But the majority of the time they're just adding, right? But if they're going to roll, they need to sell them all and then buy in the new strike price and potentially new expiration date. Depends on whether it's a final roll for that monthly, because they're very close. Then they'll do a new strike. If it's in the middle of the strike and they want to collect cash, they'll simply, like right now, they're not going to move out of a 719. They may move out of a 1540, but so far they didn't have to do that to make these payments. Okay, so they also sell a call, and now with last trading day, they're going out a week, right? So they sold 45 contracts for $18.50, and they got $41. I bet a lot of funds wish they could collect that kind of revenue. So here we are in the numbers, right? I've moved to my June tab, so I'm only picking up here, right? Because all this other stuff doesn't matter. I'll change some of it after we close out the 6-7. But what we've got, so that's May. We added, that's May. That's June. So let's see, what did we do? We did another 350,000. Now, interesting, right? This was 750,000. Guess what these people were doing? Okay, I want some of you guys that are new to think about it. Why would the volume go up on 6.4, right? Or why would all these shares be bought on 6.5? What happened on 6.5, right? We got an increase of 750,000 shares. It's like 13% of the fund, right? New shares. Because they did a declaration on 6.5, right? They do it in the morning prior to the market opening, hour or two. And people say, oh my gosh, 303. So what do we always tell you? Do not chase yield. What do most people do? Chase yield, right? I think MSTY's a great buy, right? Until it isn't. And then we'll hedge it, right? Because when crypto gets up to, 105, 125, whatever the next stop is, it's going to be ugly for 6 months or 8 months or 9 months, right? And when it's ugly, normally you wouldn't want to be in here because you're going to get your NAV cut in half maybe. But you're still going to get payments. So that's why we will hedge. Or I'll simply say to you, this is a top in the NAV. If you want to get out, this is probably a good time to get out, right? But do you think I can call the perfect top? No. But I can see topping formations with high probabilities. I'll tell you what I'm doing, right? Not financial advice, just education and entertainment. All right. So that's teaching, right? Teaching 101. All right, let's look at the synthetics. That was the other portion, right? That happened. So we put on 45 contracts, right? Same number. And since we're above this, right? So this number needs to be a June number also. Whoops. I'm going to do this just right. Equals June. Apologize, I have to do some of this. It's just you can never figure out every field to move. And you only move once a month when you go to a new location, right? Everything else is pretty steadfast. Most of this stuff's automated to roll up. Okay, so we sold that almost 1.4 that we had to spend, and we only collected 576, right? So that 809, since I'm now counting June, this is all of the previous stuff into May, right? So you guys see why we work and do these spreadsheets and why I want to do that, to keep you abreast of what's happening, right? Otherwise, I can't predict what they're going to pay. Obviously, I showed you that in YIELDMAX, especially with a brand new one. But I can give you an idea and a range, when I see a history on that fund and I watch the cash flows, in all honesty. That's my advantage. Okay, enough on that. So that's our synthetics you saw. So let's look at the weekly and then look at holdings before we go to payouts. This is what really tells us sort of our health. What's the health of the fund, right? This one just says, oh, well, we went down here and we went down here, and I really didn't check IV today. I've been a little busy, okay? And hopefully I put another video out. Aaron, if you're listening to this, you asked for an investment video where you can get a 10,000 return a month on 100,000 investment. So I built a spreadsheet and put out a 27-minute video on 3 different funds that range from 8,000 to 16,000, right? And the 8,500, 8,600 a month on a $10,000 investment on NVIDIA was shown, and that actually was the lowest. Coney and MSTY were higher. And MSTY was all the way at 16,000 a month. Nobody says that's gonna be there every single month, but that's averaging the 3 payouts into a monthly, and showing buying the stock at 20. Obviously, you can't buy MSTY at 20 anymore, right? But just 3 months ago, 4 months ago, you could. So I may do a video that say, well, if you have to pay this now, right? Even if you paid $31.69, it probably, if it does in the past, going forward the next 3 months. But again, looking out the windshield doesn't always correlate to looking out the rearview mirror. We hope, right? I'll be the first to tell you that. And I think it's too risky to put if that was all of your money into a single fund. No, 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 never do that, right? And never buy all at once. I know all you DCAers know that, right? All right, so this just shows the variety. So as we come down, good peoples, we make some back. Yesterday this was like 10 million to buy back 3.7, right? Because we were at 1694 and we had 1615 expiration today. So y'all want MSTY to come down, right? You want it to come down. Let's take a look at MSTR. Here's MSTR in our markets. This shows, where did we close? 47-ish. One of these, was I hate it when these are like this. Sometimes the lines are much clearer. Part of it, I'm on a 1-minute chart. What if I do a 5-day chart? Yeah, that gives me a better view. And that shows roughly where we were here, right? What did I say, 47, something like that. Well, we're up a little in the pre-market, right? Early pre-market. We really haven't, since it's 3 hours before it opens, it's not really pre-market yet. This is the post-market, right? The black line is the end of 6/6 trading, regular trading. So we don't have much. It's too early to get a big indication. Now you can get that from BTC. Let me tell you what BTC is doing. All right, well, BTC is up a little, right? So that's the closest thing we can do here. This is, now you see the 24-hour line, right? BTC trades all the time. So yesterday we were up to 72 something, and toward the end of the day we went down to 70 and a half. But that looks like after the market closed. Well, we're already back to 71.8, so we're midpoint, mid to higher point. Okay, so let's take a look. I love to give you all that, right? People ask me sometimes in the comments, and I got a lot more things I want to do for everybody, so trust me, it's coming. I need to get my subscribers up. I already, like I said, I put out that 8 to 16,000 a month on 100K. Now, I wouldn't do a single stock fund, right? I'd probably, if that's all the money I had and I wanted a monthly income and I really needed it, I'd probably do YIELDMAX or something, right? And just find a way to live on the 3. I mean, if I had to have the income and I had no choice, then maybe I would risk NAV reduction. But I know how to handle it if I have a little more cash to put on a hedge, right? So there's just so many things we can do. All right, let's move past this. Let's move into holdings. Now I can give you a health checkup, right? I should give these grades or something. So this is healthier, right? We went from a 3.7 and to buy everything. What I did not add this last number. We're actually making money on this one. We sold this at 41 and we could buy it back at 29. But I'm going to start just keeping the front week, right? But what I did in this one is I included, oh no, I didn't. I kept it to just 17. Okay, cool. And okay, I did. I kept these right here. So I don't need, once this closes out on Friday and when I do it tomorrow, we'll only have 2 in here, right? but they're going to roll, so I'll have some more. We'll have something replace this 965. So we may have to spend 5.9, right, of our 3.1 that we collected, and then go pay 5.9. But that's if it just stays reasonably flat, right? 62 says that would happen at 1672, right? So there's a little bit of time premium. But we're better, okay? This number went down a little bit, right? We were at 19 in our synthetic. Our synthetic was worth 19.3, so we retraced, and that made these better, yin and yang, and that made this a little less. But no matter what, we would have if it just stayed where it is, and actually these numbers, if it just stayed at the, not the 94, but if it just stayed at 56 or 60, these numbers are going to shrink right here, because they got another day's worth of premium. Sometimes it's $2 or $3 times these hundreds of contracts in some cases. So if we can get back, buy it all back at 6. And so remember, though, if we run right back up to 94, this is going to go back to 19 million, and this is probably going to go up to 9 million. So a lot of times they offset one another. All right, so and look at this, 3169 and 3170, because they pulled the cash out to not show it inside the fund anymore. So that's why the NAV works the way it works, right? People always go, well, I don't understand. How can the stock price go down and they're just paying a dividend? Well, it's net assets, right? If you cash a bunch of stuff or you pull out cash, you don't have as many assets, right? It's like accounting 101. If you're an accountant, right, you understand balance sheets, you understand all that stuff. So it makes more sense. But a lot of stock traders still, to this day, argue about that stuff. It's just a no-brainer, and yeah, there's nuances, right? Because the pre-market changes at all. Okay, I think I am done. Let's look at payouts. Okay, so I got off of this one. We got a healthy 303. Didn't think we would, but that's great. That gives us, what was my average on that video? It's high. So we got 6,960. Yeah, that sound right? 6,960. Yeah. Wow, 960. So that's 320. So that's pretty darn good, right? That 4 just pulls us up. Not bad, 320. And do I expect that to always be there? No way, right? This may not drop below 2 as long as Mr. runs and Bitcoin runs. You don't want to see this in a Bitcoin winter, though. When we get up to 105, 125 on BTC, who knows what MSTY will be? 60? But then MSTY will probably go back to 30. From 60 to 30, think of people that are buying it at 50. That FOMO, oh man, I'm going to get it in MSTY at $50, but they're paying out $5 and they're chasing it, and all of a sudden it's 60 and they're yahooing. They don't sell it, right? Greed. It's how it happens. It's what creates these boom and bust cycles. And then the next thing you know, the dividends cut, right? The NAV, somebody's back to 30, they're crying. So don't let that happen. If you're following me and you stay with my channel, I will be talking about it, okay? I will be putting together strategies through the eyes of saying, this is what I'm doing, right? So you can draw your own conclusion. I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not going to tell you what to do. All right. Hopefully you guys have seen that. I got to figure out when I get back into coin. I wasn't going to turn around and just do it immediately. But my plan is to pull a little MSTY back out, or to use some of this new money to just rebuy MSTY that I got because I'm not dripping. Because I don't think I want to close any of my shares. I think MSTY still will be the best performer when BTC is running. Okay, so that's what I got for you guys. Have a great day ahead. Have a great weekend. Happy payday. All right. See ya. Bye.